wants to take 3 of 4 in this season opening series from the San Diego Padres. And we welcome you to Dodger Stadium. First pitch coming up. Joe Davis with Earl Hershiser, and Kelly Tennant joins us in just a moment. Mostly intact as far as the roster from last season. Some free agent acquisitions, some free agent that retained and stayed here with the Dodgers, and a bunch of them made an impact in last night's game.
Yeah, you can feel some pressure when you come to a new team. You feel some pressure when you get a new contract. But the 3 guys that debuted their 2017 Open here last night did great. Rich Hill would only critique himself. Maybe I could go farther, but the pitch count not built up yet. He gets the W. And in between, the guy that took the bridge to Kenley Jansen, Sergio Romo, his first inning as a Dodger. Absolutely amazing, clean. Brought him in a little early to face the top of the lineup, and he was masterful. And then the guy that everybody expects at the end of the game when the Dodgers are ahead, a save opportunity, and his first one of the year for Kenley Jansen. Welcome him back for 5 years.
And Brandon McCarthy makes his season debut on the mound today.
We love Brandon McCarthy. Last year came back early from Tommy John surgery. In those first 2 starts when he came back 2-0 with a 1.61, he rescued the rotation, and he wants to get off to that same hot start today for 2017.
A couple of veterans, McCarthy and then Jared Weaver going for the Padres. The season opening homestand comes to a close today, and the Dodgers hope it ends with a series win. by T-Mobile. Only T-Mobile lets you stream, post, and share all things MLB. With T-Mobile One, unlimited data means unlimited baseball. Temperature in the mid-70s today. Partly cloudy above. Dodgers and Padres just about set to begin Game 4, with the Dodgers taking 2 of the first 3. 14-3 on opening day. A 4-0 loss on Tuesday night, and then they responded with a 3-1 win for Dave Roberts' club yesterday. Here's Dave. He's going to sign an autograph for a lucky fan. Dodgers will wrap up this series and then hit the road for the first time this year. 3 in Colorado starting tomorrow, and then 3 in Chicago beginning next week. That's set up Monday, Wednesday, Thursday for that series, just in case that Monday game is rained out. That's the Cubs' home opener. How about this? Clayton Kershaw getting involved in the signing. Must be somebody important. This guy's right before first pitch, coming over and taking care of a few of the fans.
It's always fun, and it's a lot easier to do after a W. Clayton 1-0 this year. Big Dodger win yesterday with Rich Hill on the mound, and they take the field with smiles.
Chase Utley headed in this direction with his first start of the 2017 season at second base today, with Logan Forsythe moving over to the hot corner and giving Justin Turner a day off. Everybody gets autographs today. You get an autograph, and you get an autograph. Starting lineups are brought to you by Honda, and this is for the most part the same group that Andy Green had against the right-hander earlier in this series. Travis Jankowski flips to the top of the order instead of hitting ninth with the righty on the mound. So really 2 leadoff types at the top with Jankowski and Margot. Then it's Myers and Solarte. Schimpf and Renfroe have both gone deep in this series. Hector Sanchez makes his first start, does the catching for Weaver, who bats behind Ibar. Brandon McCarthy is 33 years old. He's from this area originally. He was born in Glendale, grew up in Pasadena. His family moved to Colorado when he was 11 years old, and of course had Tommy John surgery a couple of years back in April of 2015. The long, grueling rehab from that. Came back after 14 months off, returned to make 9 starts last year. Wasn't great, but this spring he's been solid enough to get a spot in this rotation.
And what we're looking for with Brandon is to really attack with his fastball. The walk percentage went up last year. The percentage of strikes with the fastball went up, but the effectiveness of the hitters against that fastball went down. So he should have confidence to get that thing that moves, and he can throw it really hard in the strike zone.
Travis Jankowski to lead off against him, and it should be said, McCarthy, when he found out he made the rotation, the first thing that he said was, hey, if I thought that making the rotation was a significant achievement, then I've aimed way too low. This is a guy entering his 12th major league year. His focus is on staying healthy, making 33 starts, and he said, pitching in the postseason. He gets his year started with strike 1 on Jankowski. It was 1 for 9 in this season opening series. 25-year-old left fielder waits on an 0-1. A little bit in, 1 ball and 1 strike. Jankowski has slid to left. He was a center fielder last year, but with Manny Margot breaking in, a higher prospect, he gets priority. And Jankowski gets to move as he falls behind 1-2. This is a young team. The average age on opening day, second youngest in the majors. Only the Reds a younger group. Softly hit. Gonzalez waits on it for the first out.
Good way to start. Get the leading lady right there for Brandon McCarthy. Throw some strikes, get ahead. You've been working all off season to get to this outing and then the spring training and start off the right way.
Here is Margot, the man that displaced Jankowski in center. Margot only 22. McCarthy's first one to him is bunted towards third, and Forsythe will let it bounce foul.
Padres must not have seen Logan Forsythe play third base in spring training. Had some action there and made some wonderful plays. They think, oh, you're switching from second over to third. You can't do it, but he's had some experience over there, and he is very adept.
35 starts in his career at third, so not completely foreign to him. Most of those starts came when he was with San Diego. Margot tries to lay off. He offered, and it's 0-2. Offered again on a sharp breaking pitch. 2 out.
Right out of the bullpen, the breaking ball is very sharp for Brandon McCarthy, keeping it on the plate so the hitter has to offer when it's looking like a strike.
Third year for McCarthy in his 4-year contract that he signed before 2015. Speaking of contracts, this guy, Will Myers, signed the largest deal in Padres history in the offseason. He looks at a strike. 6 years, $83 million. Now, as we've talked about as this series has gone on, the Padres had that huge spending spree prior to the 2015 year and really depleted the farm system. Went out and got several big names. Will Myers one of them, and Will Myers the only one that's left. Kemp is gone. Shields is gone. Up and down the lineup, Kimbrel, the back end of the bullpen. Myers bangs one right at Utley. Welcome back to second base, Chase Utley in a 1-2-3 first inning for Brandon McCarthy. The Dodgers come to bat for the first time, and Andrew Toles leads off this lineup, brought to you by Honda. Then it's Seager, and with Turner getting the day off, it's Forsythe hitting third. Gonzalez, Peterson, and Utley in the middle. Puig, after his home run last night, hits seventh. Austin Barnes, his first start, hitting eighth. Jared Weaver, and it's so weird to see him in anything other than an Angels uniform. 11 major league seasons, all of them in Anaheim. He's now 34 years old. Signed a 1-year contract with the Padres this offseason. This is not the same guy that put up the majority of those numbers you see in yellow against the Dodgers while with the Angels.
Some people around baseball say he's getting people out with just pure gumption, almost with mirrors, people hitting off the reputation, not the stuff. Can barely break a pane of glass with the fastball now. He used to be, low 90s, and he won't bust through 85 today probably. And when you lose the arm speed, you lose the late movement on your pitches. You still can change speeds, but you have to have a lot of confidence to throw the fastball for a strike.
2-0 quickly on Toles. Weaver You mentioned the fastball velocity. That's right where his changeup was when his career began. A 2-0. And a strike on Toles. The 83 miles per hour that he averaged last year, the only guy that had a slower average fastball was R.A. Dickey, who's a knuckleballer.
I laugh, but I laugh out of respect, really, for somebody that can go out there with that fastball and compete at a big league level.
Toles drives one in the air to center. That's Margot. That's out number 1.
And a pitch like that, that's up in Andrew's eyes, but it's 82 miles an hour. The Dodgers are going to have to be very careful not to see the ball like a grapefruit, but it's in a hard place to hit, and then you make outs. There's a left-hander in my day named Tom Browning who didn't have a big fastball, and we know a lot about Jamie Moyer not having a big fastball, but they located and made you miss hit it.
Here's Corey Seager. Yeah, and he takes ball 1. 1 for 4 yesterday with a double. He homered on opening day. Quickly 2-0. Three balls, no strikes.
Seen the Dodger left-handed hitters early in the season, the Seagers, the Gonzaleses, using the opposite side of the field for their hits. But it's going to be very hard with the velocity today.
3-0 green light, 3-1.
You train yourself to attack the average major league fastball around 92 miles an hour, turn it up when guys get close to 100. Hitting off that speed most of the time as you try and get ready.
3-2, disappeared on him.
Baseball is an exposure sport, getting exposed to a big league slider, big league fastball, and you hit off of that. And you find something that visually and the speed is completely different. Takes a little time to adjust.
Seager earns the walk, and up comes Logan Forsythe.
Number 11, Logan Forsythe.
Logan hitting third today. It's the third different spot in the lineup he's been in already. Hit leadoff. He's twice hit fifth, and now with Justin Turner getting the day of rest, the former Padre hits third. Against Jared Weaver, works from the stretch for the first time and starts him with a fastball that's fouled off, strike 1. Weaver, you see, wearing number 27 now. That, of course, was not his number in Anaheim. That's what Mike Trout wears. Jokingly said he texted Trout when he got to San Diego to see if it was okay, and he took his number down there. Said he hopes it helps him hit a little bit like Trout. Weaver's 4 for 45 in his career, entirely in the American League.
I'm not sure Mike Trout has had a 4 for 45 anytime in his career.
No, you're right. Seager at first with one away, and Weaver to Forsythe with a 1-1 pitch. That was a hanger, and he cut through it, 1-2.
You say, why does it take so long to adjust to a guy who's about 10 mile an hour down from the major league average fastball? Well, hitters it's about timing. And you say, well, just wait a little longer. Well, their timing is usually off a pitcher's delivery. Like when he breaks his hands, that's when I'll start my mechanics. When he kicks his leg. So you have to find almost a new rhythm and timing. You do it from the bench when you're watching them. You do it from the on-deck circle, and then you have to try and find it precisely in the batter's box. Hitters are looking for rhythm, and they're looking for a rhythm off the pitcher to get their timing. That's what's so interesting about in the last few years with the Johnny Cuetos. We saw Rich Hill kind of hesitate over the rubber on his leg kick last night. I'm sure we'll see Jared Weaver trying quick pitch guys and also then take longer, slower deliveries, messing with the hitter's timing.
After a long pause and a look at Seager, he'll throw there. Corey had a pretty good lead. A local guy, Simi Valley High School, then went to Long Beach State, was the 12th overall pick out of there by the Angels 13 years ago now. Made his major league debut 2 years after that. Tied an American League record by winning his first 9 decisions. Had a stretch where he was an all-star 3 consecutive years. Was one of the best in baseball for a while. His 2-2 is in there for strike 3. Forsythe the second out of the first on Weaver's first K of the afternoon.
First baseman number 23, Adrian Gonzalez.
Little slide piece, 79 miles an hour, and just drops right in there on the corner. Perfect pitch.
Highest active winning percentage in the majors, and he sits 7th. Twice led the American League in wins, as recently as 2014. With that diminished velocity the last 2 years or so. Capped off by a career worst ERA above 5 last year in Anaheim. Ball one on Adrian Gonzalez. He was homered against Weaver in his career. Home runs were a big part of the issue last year for Weaver. Gave up 37, the most in the American League. Here's a 1-0. And a fly ball. In short right, it's Solarte. And that's the inning. Dodgers get a 1-out walk, but nothing to show for it. And after one, a gorgeous day, no score. Last half inning, young Hervis Solarte caught that pop out and made a young fan's day. I'll never forget that moment. Let's go down to Kelly Tennant. Hello, Kelly.
Hi, Hi, guys. So nice to finally work with you. Such a great day to join the team. We see Logan Forsythe out here at third base today, Chase Utley at second. And when we talked to Dave Roberts earlier about making those lineup changes, he said, having a guy like Logan Forsythe is such a luxury. And you have a guy like Chase Utley that adds so much to this team. He's able to do so many things. He's such a good clubhouse guy. I want to make sure that we get him in there as much as we can. So that is why they make the change today. Again, a luxury in so many ways to have those two.
All right, Kelly, appreciate it. That ball took off on Jock Peterson, and Younghervis Solarte begins the second with a double.
Number 11, Ryan Schimpf.
Jock got a good jump on this ball, but happened to be running in the wrong direction. That ball's got outstanding backspin. That'll keep the ball in the air for a long time, and this is a rarity in itself to see Jock run the wrong route. Well, he's saying he had a tough time seeing it also.
Really bright this time of day. And the Padres with the leadoff man in scoring position for Ryan Schimpf with time called.
You know, with Jock, when he pointed to his eyes to Andrew Toles, that wasn't an excuse like out of insecurity. That was to tell his corner outfielders to tell him to go in or back and yell it. On a day when it's hard to see, the outfielders will help themselves with the depth of the ball because the corner guys have an angle on the flight of the ball. They can help Jock on back, in, you're good. And that's what Yasiel Puig and Andrew Toles will have to do for him.
I'll have the shades on. Even Schimpf at the plate with his sunglasses down. Checks his swing, 2-0. Ryan Schimpf starting at third base. Made his major league debut last year after 7.5 seasons in the minors. Waits on a 2-0. And swings and misses, 2-1. A lot of times you'll see that with a guy who is drafted at a high school, but he played a full career at LSU and then spent 7.5 years in the minor leagues. Solarte at second to lead off the second. And McCarthy to Schimpf with a 2-1 pitch. A breaking ball, and it's 3-1. 12th year for Brandon McCarthy. 6th team that he's been with. All started with the White Sox back in 05. And the Rangers, the A's, the D-backs, the Yankees, and the Dodgers. Got it in the hands, a broken bat floater that Gonzalez catches for out number 1.
What an outstanding pitch. Get backed into a fastball count, 3-1 after the double. And to throw this cutter right in on his hands. And fortunate, a lot of times you make these great pitches, you break a bat, and this ball bloops in. But Dodgers had the defense swung around. Gonzalez was deep, captured the out.
Destroyed that bat.
Screaming lamp in my day from the bench because Mark Cressy, the bullpen coach, would take the busted bats and turn them into lamps.
Hunter Renfroe. Ball 1. And what would he do with the lamps? Did you get to keep them?
Oh,
yeah. Sell them?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he'd cut off the handle and use just the barrel, and he'd run the cord and the piece of metal up the middle for the wiring. You'd have a baseball shade on top, and a home plate usually was the base. It's a cool lamp.
So you just have like a ton of these lamps laying around, or were they?
No, I didn't bust that many bats. No, and I didn't want the opposing team. But no, you'd get your own. So my kids grew up with Oral Hershiser model bat lamp in their room.
Okay.
And everybody else's kids in that day had lamps in their room.
Renfroe pops it into short center. Utley settles under it, and again, soft contact, 2 out.
Well, the last broken bat was a cutter. This is the 2-seamer, and in some ways, Brandon McCarthy, when he's on, only needs to throw these 2 pitches. One that runs away from lefties and into righties, and one that goes into lefties and away from righties. Watch this ball tail in and jam Renfroe. Renfroe has proven how strong he is in his early days here in the big leagues, but get the ball off the barrel and jam him.
Here's the red-eyed, intense Hector Sanchez. And he starts him with a breaking ball, strike one. Clayton Kershaw looks on. He'll start Saturday against John Gray at Coors Field.
How about the camera shot we had the other day opening with Clayton's last strikeout, and then it faded to Sandy Koufax in his seats. Some of the shots we get are just gorgeous.
It's Rob Moran that had that shot, his camera, on opening day. Tell you what, our production crew, unmatched.
Vinny was blessed to have them.
Yeah, he was.
Now we are.
Sanchez to first, and there's Gonzalez to end the inning. McCarthy able to pitch around the leadoff double.
Performance spotlight. Jock Peterson morphed into multiple swings. You see the leg kick here, the knee bend, and then the swing. A little better average in September of 16, a little bit more upright, a step back, the leg kick still, and now the complete morph. The hips are open, the leg kick is going to be back and up, and also he is a little taller with two eyes on the ball, and he has gotten off to a hot start as he leads off this second inning.
Against Jared Weaver in front of Chase Utley and Yasiel Puig. One hit so far. It was that grand slam that set off a party on opening day. 5 RBIs that day, one short of the franchise opening day record. Here now in his third full major league season, waiting on a 1-0 and an elevated fastball that he bangs into the ground to short. 1 out.
6 at 4.
Second baseman, number 26, Chase Utley.
No, it was.
Oh, it was 5 at 4.
5 at 4.
5 at 4.
To 3. Chase Utley. His first start of the season. Guy that was raised in Long Beach, facing a guy who played in Long Beach at Long Beach State. Chase signed a 1-year deal this offseason and admitted that he didn't think there was much of a chance that was going to happen, especially after Logan Forsythe was acquired. Here's a 1-0, and there's ball 2. He texted Corey Seager. He thought it was such a sure thing that he wasn't coming back. You better watch out when I come into second next year, meaning when I come in on a hard slide playing for another team. But a few weeks later, Corey got another text Don't worry about getting out of the way anymore. See you soon. 2-1. Guy that Dave Roberts says, my favorite player of all time. A 2-1. And a breaking ball ripped to right. That's a base hit for Chase Utley, his first of the season.
Back in the pregame show, Ned Colletti, this was his pick to click today, Chase Utley, and he got him off to a good start. Chase got Ned off to a good start, and Ned put out some good vibes for Chase, like the matchup against Weaver.
Yasiel Puig with a man at first and one gone. He had a towering home run last night, his first of the season. Weaver delivers to him, and Puig hammers one way back to left field, and on back-to-back days, he has crushed a home run.
A two-run shot yesterday gave the Dodgers the lead, and a two-run shot today gives the Dodgers the lead, and almost in the exact same place. This one a little bit right of yesterday's blast.
Austin Barnes looks at a ball. And Puig has talked about that same approach so many guys across the sport are beginning to speak more about, and that is making a focus on elevating the ball. This is after the game yesterday to Andy McCullough of the LA Times. I'm thinking about hitting the ball in the air, or else there's going to be no money in my pocket. There's such a focus these days on elevating the ball. Austin Barnes does to right field for Hunter Renfroe, who comes on and makes a running catch for the second out. Let's see how far this thing went.
Pitcher number 38, Brandon McCarthy.
Now the thing is, there's just so much data with defensive positioning now that hitting the ball on the ground isn't probably as effective as it once was.
Well, you have four fielders covering areas where the tendencies of the hitters are. In the outfield, you only have three, and they have more space to cover. A mistake on the ground ball is more like a single, maybe a double. A mistake in the outfield is more like a double, triple, or home run. So they have to cover a more conventional space in the outfield. You know, when they shift in the outfield, it's more like a shading. When they shift in the infield, it can be really exaggerated. So I think it's just a lot harder to defend the ball in the air.
How about this number? On ground balls, the major league slugging is 258. If you get the ball in the air, and this includes line drives, but it's 785.
It would be interesting that someday we see a fourth outfielder.
Actually, that's something San Diego has talked about a little bit, tinkering with conventional defense. Yasiel Puig starts the scoring with a long home run measured over 400 feet. 2-0 after 2. Puig, and we say welcome inside our broadcast booth. Joe and Oral, you counted 8 steps before he broke into his trot yesterday. What do we have on that one?
I don't know. We've seen
7.
a bat flip on an intentional walk when he was the first Dodger to get signaled to go to first base. We've seen 6, 7, 8 steps after a home run, and that one, I'm not sure he really did that on that one. Did he have a few?
Didn't exactly sprint out of the box. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think you and I are both in agreement that enjoying success, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Eric Ibar on the first pitch, grounds to Chase Utley. 1 out.
It's probably in that incident you have to go to the pitching culture and change it. And we don't see a lot of guys get knocked down after a bat flip. We do have seen some kind of flapping of the lips between pitchers and hitters when they kind of take their time to run around the bases. Not like the olden days where guys would all of a sudden get some chin music. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 6,
5 or 6.
5.5.
Appropriate.
What do you have, like 7 yesterday?
This is a 7 or 8 stepper.
It's a day game. It was a short night.
Jared Weaver's in there, wearing Mike Trout's number, hoping he can hit a little more like Mike Trout. 4 for 45 in his career entirely in the American League, though. Brandon McCarthy pitches 1-1 and has him bailing out of there on a breaking ball. 1-2. Second K from McCarthy, second out of the 3rd.
Number 16, Travis.
The truck has queued up comparisons last night and today.
Are we comparing the swings? I know we're comparing the walk, though. That one's much further than today.
Better swing today, though, right? There's a little off balance on that first one.
Same position of the neck.
Yeah, you mean craning up to watch the ball fly?
Looking to left field. They have been some towering shots.
Top of the order for San Diego, Travis Jankowski behind 0-1. Here's McCarthy again, and there's strike 2.
So much talk coming out of spring training on how long a rope will Yasiel Puig have to let the bat get going. He's just lengthened the rope in the last couple days. And really those questions were coming from the media, nowhere in the Dodger front office, nowhere from manager Dave Roberts. Wondering and waiting for the production for when he busted on the scene here in the big leagues.
Jankowski into left center. Puig and Tolles come together, or Peterson and Tolles come together, and Peterson makes the catch and pops right to his feet after a gentle collision with Tolles. You hold your breath for a moment there, but good to see both of them just fine. And the Dodgers in front 2-0. Sunday, April 16th, when the Dodgers come home from this upcoming road trip. The D-backs are in town, and the first 12,000 kids ages 14 and under get a Kids Fathead featuring Kenta Maeda, courtesy of Sunrun. For tickets, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Second time through the Dodger order, Andrew Toles against Jared Weaver. Fly to center his first time. And takes a strike. So back-to-back ABs today where Toles has let the first pitch go, but ultra aggressive normally.
Yeah, the first 8 at-bats of the year. He swung at the first pitch 5 out of 8 times. Put in play a few times too. Talking with Turner Ward before the season started, knowing that Andrew Toles was going to be the leadoff hitter, Turner talked about how we're not going to try and change his philosophy as a hitter. We're just going to try and keep his aggressiveness, but concentrate on making sure there's strikes. You don't want to all of a sudden take a guy who has been successful while aggressive, and then he hits in the leadoff hole, and then all of a sudden say to him, okay, I need you to be patient. I need you to work the count. I need you to do this. And it's all about kind of calming down and not attacking. And then the guy loses his personality. He loses the aggressiveness of where he is successful.
On 1-2, Toles stays alive. Right into one of our microphones. Puig talking his swing over with the 2 guys that have helped him with that new approach. Turner Ward on the left, Justin Turner on the right. Turner turned his season around last year and really turned his career around adopting that approach. Toles gets under it. All 3 infielders come together. And the shortstop Ibar has it for the first out.
Isn't it really interesting to watch Yasiel Puig talking to Turner Ward, and it's not about Turner Ward coaching him, it's about Turner being a sounding board. And then also remembering what Yasiel is describing to him so that when Yasiel goes south, Turner has things in his tool belt that he can remind Yasiel of how it felt when it went good.
Dodgers 2, Padres nothing. Corey Seager hits it foul. 0-1. He walked his first time. Waits on an 0-1. That's up high. 1 ball and 1 strike. '34-year-old from Northridge, home with a 1-1 pitch. That's low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Has a no-hitter in his career against Minnesota. And then in Dodger history, kind of a no-hitter, kind of a combined no-hitter. Here's a 2-1. And Seager hits it hard, but right into the shift. Solarte waiting. 2 out. 2008, he combined on an 8-inning no-hitter, but lost the game 1-0 to the Dodgers. And because it only went 8 innings, it wasn't officially a no-hitter. Has to go at least 9 to go down in the record books. The lone run came when Matt Kemp reached on Weaver's own error, stole second, advanced to third on another error, and then scored on a sacrifice fly. So a combined no-hitter where you lost. And salt in the wound is that you don't even get remembered for throwing it, because it's not official. Logan Forsythe with 2 gone and the base is clear. Looks at strike 1.
One of the trivia questions of who was the shortstop when Jared Weaver threw his no-hitter against the Twins? The answer right there, Eric Ibar.
They're both kids then. Weaver was 25. Ibar was 24. Now 2 of the 3 veteran-most players on this young roster. Forsythe can't lay off that elevated fastball. He's behind 1-2. course, his older brother played for the Dodgers in a couple separate stints, Jeff Weaver. And he said he learned just about everything that he knows about the game from Big Bro. He used to go to his big league games when he was in high school, spend some of the summers with Jeff. Jarrett's 2-2. Breaking ball drilled to center. Margot ends the inning. First 1-2-3 inning to the game for Jarrett Weaver. And after 3, the Dodgers lead him 2-0. Brought to you by the Ram 1500 Rebel. Experience the power and toughness of Ram at your local dealer. And by Jack in the Box. Try the Double Jack Combo for just $4.99. Only at Jack in the Box. Corey Seager down in San Diego last year at the Home Run Derby. 17th Rookie of the Year in Dodger history. Way more than any other franchise. Manny Margot looks at a strike from Brandon McCarthy, who has been locked in so far. Tommy John surgery in 2015, 14-month rehab, pretty standard. Came back in early July last year. Margot with a cue shot that Gonzalez smothers to his feet to feed McCarthy for the first out.
Adrian Gonzalez in this Carl's Cam replay with an outstanding stab at this ball. Soft hands, being able to slide, pop up, and a nice easy feed to Brandon McCarthy. Doesn't take any of the anxiety and put it in his throw, just lobs it accurately right there. Real easy play for Brandon. Exceptional play by Adrian Gonzalez.
Brings up Will Myers. McCarthy working quickly, home of the first one. It's a strike. And so after the decent beginning to his return, McCarthy then started to deal with what he termed as feeling like a glitch in the brain. Myers hits it hard. Forsythe gets it. He stands up. Back-to-back dazzling defensive plays. 2 out.
The Gold Glove reel is being built right now by the Dodgers in this inning. Forsythe, a lot of range there, and again you see the slide and the pop-up and the accurate throw. Great baseball clocks being shown by both guys on the corners.
2 up and 2 down, and now Solarte. That glitch in the brain McCarthy referenced, the common term for it is the yips. Solarte fouls it back, strike 1. And McCarthy said it feels less like psychology than it does. Picture if you try to touch a hot stove and then instinctively your brain just stopped your hand or decelerated it a ton without trying. Sky high to center. Peterson has had some trouble tracking it in the sun. Not this time. A lightning quick inning. We'll talk more about Brandon McCarthy and what he battled through last year as this game rolls on. All over the diamond in this inning. Gonzalez with a tremendous play. Forsythe did as well. 2-0, middle 4. Good crowd on hand, taking advantage of some ballpark food. Good day to get the ice cream in the helmet. The sun out, shades on. We're in a 2-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the 4th, and Adrian Gonzalez leads it off against Jared Weaver. 1-0. Adrian's 0 for 1. He popped out the second his first time. 34-year-old in his 14th major league year and his 6th one in a Dodger uniform. That one hangs over the plate, taken for a strike, 1-1. 10 consecutive seasons of knocking in at least 90 runs. That's the longest active streak in the majors. 2 balls and a strike, and he's been able to do something like that because of his ability to stay on the field. Nobody's played more games than him over the last decade. Leading off the 4th against Weaver. And hitting a breaking ball foul, 2-2. Full count. He's been dealing a little bit with that elbow tendonitis through spring training and started feeling it towards the end of the offseason last year, but didn't make his spring debut until a couple of weeks into the spring. And has found different ways to manage the pain, different kinds of treatment. He's even tweaked his swing a little bit. Pulls a liner right into the shift again, and off a short bounce, Solarte throws him out.
Some ways, when you have Solarte out there in the outfield, it is the 4th outfielder. We saw Corey Seager hit one deep out to him right there, and Solarte playing even deeper with Adrian Gonzalez because of the speed. You can do that on the right side of the infield. You can't do that on the left. The throw's too long. The batter runner would beat it out.
One out for Peterson, who hit into the shift himself his first time. That breaks low, 1-0. He hit it to the third baseman, Schimpf, who is actually standing where the second baseman normally does. 2-0. And then on the left side of the infield, that's the shortstop, Ibar. A little bit closer to where the third baseman typically plays. On 2-0, Peterson takes ball 3. Chase Utley due next. Weaver in his Padres debut pumps a 3-0, and Peterson looks at ball 4. Walks on 4 pitches, second free pass issue.
Number 26, Chase Utley.
Utley singled and scored his first time. Strike 1.
Chase's first single, he had to beat the shift with Solarte deep into the outfield. Now with a man on first, a little weaker defense according to how he hits the ball.
Sanchez wants it low and away. Weaver gets it there. Utley lifts it to right, and Renfroe's tracks. 2 out. And it brings up Puig.
Number 66, Puig.
A third of the home runs he's hit in his career have come on the first pitch of the at-bat, as today's did. And patiently watches one spin out of the zone, ball 1. 5th big league season for the 26-year-old. He broke in with one of the greatest months in baseball history. All-star again the next season. Then dealt with hamstring issues the next couple of years. And even was demoted to the minors last year. I think a lot of people, rightfully so, wondered if they'd ever see him in a Dodger uniform again. But he was called back up in early September, and as soon as he was, the veterans on Dave Roberts' club sat him down, had an important talk with him about making the right decisions on and off the field, fitting into his role, which at that time was a split with Josh Reddick. 2-0. He's also gotten advice from some veterans around the league. Albert Pujols has reached out, called unsolicited after the demotion last year to give him some advice and encourage him. And then Robinson Cano, somebody who he developed a relationship with this offseason while he was in the Dominican doing work for his new charity. See if he gets another one to drive on 2-0. A hanger is pounded to left and gone again. His 3rd home run in the last 2 days.
Not much to say, just sit back and watch. The wild horse is running free.
And a ball on Austin Barnes. One and one.
The more home runs you hit, the slower you usually walk out of the box. But his first one was 7 or 8 steps. Second one was 5, 5.5, and that one was about 3. He's getting used to this.
Yeah. First start of the year for Barnes. Waits on this 2-1. Had one to hit and fouled it back. 2-2. Starting to look a little bit like it did for Puig against the Padres in that debut series. That monster opening month in 2013 when he hit 4 home runs in his first 5 games. That included a 2 home run game in his second game in the majors. Vin Scully said he's not to be believed. This game is not that easy. And easy is exactly how Puig made it look that first year. Weaver with a payoff. And Barnes hits one down the right field line. Bending towards the pole and foul. Already 65 pitches for Jared Weaver, whose 3-2 is out by the hands, and he's walked Barnes.
Number 38, Brandon McCarthy.
Third Weaver walk. Sanchez out to have a word with him as McCarthy comes up with 2 away in the 4th.
Ross Stripling was on the pregame show with Jerry Hairston and Kelly, and Jerry asked him who the best hitting pitcher was to Ross Stripling, and he said, well, after Kershaw, Brandon McCarthy has surprising power.
And he's got a base hit. Well timed, Oral. Barnes making the turn. He'll head for third on a single from Brandon McCarthy.
With the equation of Weaver's velocity, it's almost like pitcher's BP, and Brandon McCarthy is very comfortable in the batter's box with pitcher's BP, and sometimes with guys who throw so lightly, the pitchers actually have immediate timing against those guys. They don't need to get a read on them.
So a chance for Tolles to widen the lead with 2 gone and men at the corners. Andrews 0 for 2 today. Here comes Weaver. And Tolles pops it up. Ibar, shielding his eyes from the sun with his shades and his glove, makes the catch. But Yasiel Puig with his 2nd home run of the day, accounting for all the Dodgers scoring in a 4-0 affair. We go to the 5th, and we go to Kelly Tennant.
All right, guys, so just outside the Vin Scully press box is the new Dodgers social media center. They have 6 TVs, 6 computers. They're staying on top of everything that is trending, interacting with over 5 million Dodger fans at once. So you guys at home can take pictures as well as in the stadium, and some of your photos can be used throughout the stadium using different hashtags. Make sure you hashtag it with "It's time for Dodger baseball," "Let's go Dodgers," or MLB Memory Bank, and it might be chosen to be displayed. Joe, let's go back to you.
All right, Kelly. Puig's active on social media. Hashtag Puig not late. Hashtag Puig your friend. Not his friend today. 2 home runs against him.
Hashtag Puig go deep.
Yeah.
Just like June 4th, 2013, twice.
Ryan Schimpf to lead off this inning against Brandon McCarthy. Lined out his first time. And takes a strike. And so we started to talk about McCarthy and his battle with the yips last August. He's gone through injury issues throughout his career, including the Tommy John. And he said, you know, when you come off Tommy John with the success rate at this point, you're not really worried that your career's over. You figure you're going to have another shot. But with the yips, you're standing out there thinking, I don't know if I can ever throw a baseball in a competitive game again. So he shut it down, tried to figure it out, worked things in the bullpen, said he made a mechanical tweak that helped unlock the glitch that he was dealing with. But his first start back from that, he said it was as nervous as he'd ever been. 3-1 on Schimpf. Schimpf golfs one, and left Tolles drifts back on it for the first out.
The Dodger starting pitching has been solid so far, but the most efficient is the guy on the mound. This is through 4 innings for all of them. 53, 59, 67. Whoa, dropped down to 38. And Brandon McCarthy is at his best when he is attacking. He gets a little fidgety out there, starts thinking about mechanics or what he wants to do with the hitter. When he gets the sign, is confident and just rocks and fires. He's doing that today.
It's a guy that has had some really good years. He bends Renfroe back on ball 1. Debuted back in 2005 in a spot start with the White Sox. Renfroe pulls a base hit to left. And a 1-out base runner for the Padres.
Number 44, Hector Sanchez.
Hector Sanchez now. Sanchez hits one foul. We saw him do that a few times the other night, way out in front of a few pitches, and yanks some hard foul. 0-1. Breaking ball a little bit low. 1-1. And the Tommy John and then the battle with the yips, not the first thing McCarthy's had to get through in his career. 2012 took a line drive off his head. Had a fractured skull. That was the scariest of the injuries. But there were others. Issues with his shoulder blade early on in his career. That problem popped back up a few different seasons. Had to make some mechanical tweaks. Sanchez in the air down the right field line. Puig is over. Plenty of room for the second out. But he changed his delivery to take some pressure off his scapula while he was in the minors midway through his career, and that freed things up in his shoulder. So he got that healthy, but then the elbow issue popped up. Through it all, here he is 33 years old in his 12th major league season. With 2 gone, Eric Ibar takes a strike.
I think so many fans think that big leaguers grow up with the athletic silver spoon, that it just happens. There's so many stories of guys that have battled adversity and injury and illness. The Franklin Gutierrez story blows me away with what he continues to battle to this day, reinventing himself, everything that he's done.
Here's the 1-1. Yeah, that's low. 2-1 on Ibar. Something you had to do dealing with the shoulder issues down the stretch in your career?
Reconstructed my shoulder pretty much mid-career. Dr. Frank Jobe, bless his soul.
On the ground is second. Chase Utley's there to finish off the Padres in the 5th. Halfway home on a gorgeous day in LA, and it's 4-0 on a pair of Puig homers. SDN LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Get incredible deals on a spacious new Sienna, Toyota's leading the way sales event. Fernando in the wrong jersey. This is when he pitched for San Diego, obviously leaving the game against the Dodgers, and he gave up 4 runs over a couple of innings. 1996. He had won his last 8 starts before that one, and his old team got to him. There's Fernando down in the Spanish language TV booth as Corey Seager gets ready to bat against Jared Weaver here in the 5th inning. Joe Davis, Orel Hershiser, Kelly Tennant. Seager goes after the first pitch and sneaks it through the shift to begin the inning. Not a lot of room over there, but he hit it hard enough, and it had eyes. A leadoff single.
Corey threads the needle right here. Take it.
Second time he's been on today. Logan Forsythe now, who has struck out in 4 of his last 6 ABs. Hit a bit low from Weaver, ball 1. Weaver admitted that there were times last season, that worst year of his career, where he thought he might be finished. Had a pretty good finish to the year. His final month, encouraged him enough to give it another try. So here he is on a 1-year contract. Made the Padres rotation. And today has allowed the 4 runs on 5 hits. He's walked 3. All 4 runs coming off Yasiel Puig homers, a pair of them. He's home with a 1-1, and Forsythe dribbles it up along third. Picked up by Schimpf, throws low, and dug out by Myers. Seager takes second.
First baseman Adrian Gonzalez.
One third baseman throws out the other third baseman with a very nice play right here, having to get the exchange and the quick throw. And a little help down there from your friend Mr. Myers on the scoop.
You know, last night on a even more of a routine throw, Myers couldn't hang on to it on a toss across the diamond from Schimpf, and it led to a Dodgers run on a ball that this man hit. Adrian's 0 for 2 today, and 3 for 10 in this season opening series. Thought to head to Coors Field, where Gonzalez is one of the best hitters all time. Spending much of his career in the National League West. 5 years with the Padres, now his 6th year with the Dodgers. Hit back up the middle, past Weaver. Ibar looks at Seager and throws Gonzalez out.
Hit past Weaver, but not before it glanced off his leather, slowed it down a little bit. Adrian hit it right back up the middle. Ibar was there to put it away.
Jock walked his last time in front of the Puig home run. And with 5 left-handed hitters out of the first 6 in the Dodger lineup, the Padres pretty much just stay in this overshift for the first 2/3 of the lineup. The only guy they have to move for is Logan Forsythe. We've reached the day where this is standard against most left-handed hitters. Weaver pumps a 1-0, and Peterson takes it in the dirt. Sanchez saves a run by smothering. 2-0. So we've reached a day where this is standard on left-handed hitters. And what follows is that we've reached a day where a lot of guys are trying to elevate the ball more, like we've talked about today. A 2-0. It's a strike. The game constantly evolves.
And there'll be a certain portion of the hitters that adjust back as far as when they hit it on the ground. It'll be to the opposite field.
Caught the corner, 2-2. Jock didn't like it, and lets David Rackley know. Weaver trying to pitch around the leadoff single. Seager's off of third. And a 2-2. They're going upstairs. And it got it. So Peterson aboard. Men at the corners with 2 out. Weaver didn't like the effort to get out of the way of it.
Inside, a little two-seamer, and I'm not sure he got out of the way or he got into it.
Yeah.
Taught to turn away from the ball when you feel like it's going to hit you, but it was a turn away plus a little extension.
Right.
There's the turn away, but then when he flexes the knee, I'm not sure, you know, turning away there was what the position his knee's in and the weight that's coming down on it, that he
Believable.
didn't do it on purpose. It was a believable. Might be a little intention there. If you're in one uniform, you think one thing. You're in the other uniform, you think the other.
Yeah. So Seager at third and Peterson at first for Chase Utley. Single with a run in the second and a fly out in the fourth. Couple of veterans going at it. And Utley fouls off the first one. Weaver made his big league debut in 2006. Utley made his in 2003. Weaver's 0-1. Left over the plate, and Utley fouls it off. 0-2. Former World Series champion with the Phillies in 2008. Went to the World Series again the next year. They lost to the Yankees, but Utley hit 5 home runs. Tied Reggie Jackson's World Series record. It was set against the Dodgers. The '77 Fall Classic. Oh, 2. Inside, ball 1. Sanchez sets the target low and away on 1-2. It's hit up along first, and Myers standing in the bag fields it and ends the inning. Dodgers leave men at the corners but lead 4-0 through 5. One of the special days on the baseball calendar, but this year extra special. The 70th anniversary of his debut, and the first 40,000 fans in attendance get a replica of the statue that'll be erected outside Dodger Stadium. Bank of America presents that replica. Dodgers.com/promotions, and check it out. They tell me this is the only one in the building right now, so we have to protect it with our lives.
We sure will.
It's pretty nice. Heavy duty, too. Good look at it. First 40,000 fans.
Thank you for putting it in front of your face.
Get you your FaceTime still. Grounded to third by Alan Cordoba and thrown out by Forsythe. Dodgers getting a 2-run shot in the second from Puig, getting another from Puig in the fourth, all in support of Brandon McCarthy. who has been as impressive as any pitcher in this season opening series.
Fantastic. 53 pitches through 36 strikes, right on top of the strike zone. 13 of 17 batters he faced were first pitch strikes. And he's had an outstanding rhythm on the mound. As he releases the ball, he just kind of walks backwards about 3 steps, gets to the rubber, looks up, gets the sign, and attacks.
On 1-0. A little bit low, 2-0 on Jankowski at the top of the San Diego order.
I guess I jinxed him in talking about first pitch strikes. We'll probably get some tweets on that.
Here's the 2-0. And muscled down the left field line, foul, 2-1. Twitter's been so nice this week. We are both, I know, so thankful.
We are blessed by the reception. Something that we both have worried about for a long time.
Jankowski drags a bunt foul, and it's 2-2.
But we will never escape the negative tweets about jinxing a no-hitter, no matter how long
it's always
we do
going to be
this.
there. Yeah, it's a polarizing thing.
Like death and taxes, tweets about jinxing no-hitters is also something that will always happen.
Full count on Jankowski. Death, taxes, no-hitter tweets. And I think we're totally okay with it because it's that passion that makes this game special.
Exactly.
Off the end of the bat, through the hole, base hit. It's a 1-out single for Jankowski here in the 6th inning. And only the 3rd hit allowed by Brandon McCarthy today.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see a little action in the Dodger bullpen, even though Brandon's been doing so well. They're being very careful with the starters as they build their pitch count. Also making sure that the relievers are brought into really not high leverage situations. Choosing the right guys for the right situations, but you don't like to have the guy's first outing or first or second outing of the year from the bullpen come into bases loaded, no out, different things. You just want to get everybody's feet wet.
Breaking ball, pitching Margot backwards, strike 1. And like Brandon said when he made the rotation, if that was my only goal, I'm aiming my sights way too low. He's no longer the kid that debuted in the majors with the White Sox. This is a 12-year major league veteran who's battled through everything you could possibly think of health-wise. From shoulder to shoulder blade to elbow to a fractured skull to the yips. And in his 2017 debut, 5 1/3 shutout innings in 0-1. And another breaking ball. It's 0-2 on Margot.
Pretty good tweeter himself, though.
He is.
Very thoughtful, clever.
Not just a good tweeter, but a very talented writer. And that comes out in his tweeting. His 0-2 went with 3 consecutive breaking pitches, and Margot got a piece of this one.
That's about the way they've attacked Margot the whole day. Struck him out on a nice breaking ball right down the middle, hit the top of the plate almost in the first at bat.
Good lead at first for Jankowski. He stays, and Margot strikes out swinging. The 3rd punch out for McCarthy. 2 gone here in the 6th.
Almost the identical pitch that he got him in his first at bat. A breaking ball that looks like a fastball down the middle, but then just buries with that break. And boy, you know you really have a good release point on your curveball when you can make it back up, but also go down.
Yeah, began the game with that pitch locked in, and it's been dialed in throughout these 6 innings. Will Myers 0 for 2, though he's hit it hard both times. A line out to second and a ground out to third. Off speed, strike 1. Myers, a pitcher himself during high school. Game 1 of the North Carolina State Championship Series when he was a senior. Pitched 6 innings and then moved to shortstop when his team was ahead 5-2 for the closer to come in. Closer gives up 2 runs without getting an out, so Myers goes back into the game with his team in a jam, bases loaded now, deficit's been cut to 1, and he finishes it off with a line drive double play and a strikeout. And in a best-of-3 series, they won the championship the next day. Here's a 1-1. Boy, that thing bears in on his knuckles. 1-2.
That's got some serious run on it. That ball looked like it was going to be up and away, not for a ball, but in the strike zone, and then ran all the way across the plate.
McCarthy's 1-2. Back to the breaking ball. Lifted to right center. Peterson back at the wall. It's gone. And with one swing, Will Myers cuts the deficit in half. So it's a 4-2 game on his first long ball of the season.
It's kind of inside outs this ball. That is a breaking ball again that is sharp, and it's actually below the strike zone going down to the shoe tops, but Will Myers digs it out, hits it to the opposite field, staying behind it and barreling it up.
Gets ahead of Solarte. 0-1. 1-1. So now Myers, Solarte, Schimpf, and Renfroe. That's the heart of this order. They've all homered once in this series. Just out. 2-1 as McCarthy touches 95 here in the 6th. Three and 1 on Solarte.
Brandon McCarthy, the third hitter next inning. Dave Roberts is thinking about taking him out of the game, trying to get him through this inning, and then he could choose a hitter.
And he walks Solarte. That brings a tying run up in the blink of an eye here in the 6th.
You might see a little visit from Rick Honeycutt right here so they can get somebody warm in case this inning continues, and it'll probably be someone that they just want for an out because of where they will hit in the order, unless they would attempt a double switch. You see the pitches by inning: 10, 13, 9, 6. He's on a roll, but now 15 and 21 this inning. A watchful eye, not only to help the bullpen right here, but to give Brandon a little breather and regroup to get him back in the dugout.
Two runs on 4 hits against him. He's walked 1, has the 3 Ks, and is 1 out away from finishing off 6 innings here with the lone blemish coming off of the Myers homer. The man that he faces now, good pop himself, Ryan Schimpf. Despite only standing 5'9", he hammered 20 homers last year, and he takes ball 1. Talking all about launch angle, guys trying to get it in the air. He had the highest fly ball rate over the last 15 seasons in the majors last year, as you see Luis Avilan begin to work. That tails in a strike, 1-1. So this little guy, 5'9" Ryan Schimpf, had a similar batted ball profile to Frank Thomas. More home runs than he had singles last year. A curve, and it's 1-2. And he gets Schimpf with a fastball to finish the inning. Padres get 2 on a home run from Myers, but Puig has hit 2 of them himself today. And it's 4-2 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. I think everyone agrees it's about time to update that collection. It's the 88 World Series trophy. We've got the MVP of that World Series sitting next to me. Now we've got Jared Cozart checking into the game. It's time for Who's In and Who's Out, brought to you by In and Out. Cozart replaces Jared Weaver after he goes 5 innings and comes in for his season debut here in the last of the 6.
Brandon McCarthy looking on, hoping the Dodger offense can get those 2 runs back, give himself or the bullpen a little more breathing room.
And Yasiel Puig, who has the 2 home runs today, leads it off by taking a ball. 3 home runs the last 2 games. Only hit 11 homers all of last season. And he has 3 in the first series of the year. Cozart's 1-0. Puig takes it low, 2 balls and no strikes, and you know Cozart's got to be shivering some sitting 2-0 against Puig. Outside of the Myers home run, fantastic work from Brandon McCarthy. The 2-0. 2-1.
Conversation we just saw with McCarthy and Clayton Kershaw, the way it was carrying on, would tell me that McCarthy is done. He's one that usually sits alone in his thoughts, and everyone has the respect to leave him alone in between innings. And Luis Avilan is really starting to get heated up, and it continued to throw after the Padres were retired.
Three and 1. Another good count for Puig. Austin Barnes due next in a 4-2 game in the bottom of the 6th. Dodgers trying to take 3 of 4 from San Diego to open the season before they head to Denver tonight and begin a series with the Rockies tomorrow. Cozart's 3-1 and Puig swings through it, 3-2. Here comes the payoff. Fastball low and away, and he's walked. When you combine that, the power with the patience, Puig has a chance to be a guy that works himself up that lineup.
Austin Barnes.
So much talked about the depth of the Dodger lineup, and with Yasiel hitting 8th a few days there, they brought the power yesterday and bringing it again today.
Dave Roberts said it before the opening day game. He hopes that Puig does force his hand. Kike Hernandez grabs a bat. He hopes that Puig does make it tough on him to continue to bat him in the bottom of the lineup. First one to Austin Barnes is low. And Sanchez out to talk with Cozart. Toll's hitting leadoff really is a trickle down of Puig struggling during spring training, because that was going to be Forsythe, but then you need Forsythe's bat in the middle of the lineup in a spot where you may have had Puig had he performed in the spring. And they liked what Tolles was doing against right-handed pitching, liked his look at the top of the order. But in a perfect world, Puig produces to the point where he finds himself back in a run-producing spot in the lineup. Runner takes off and Barnes fouls it off.
Yasiel's power will keep him in the lineup, especially also with the glove, but his patience and productive outs is what will move him into the middle of the order. The guys in the middle of the order, when you get a guy on second and less than 2 outs and you get him over, the guy on third and less than 2 outs and you make sure you get him in, the ability to pass the baton with the other good hitters or consistent hitters around you, that's what gets you up the ranks. The power is for the 6, 7, 8 guy because, we don't care if there's anybody on base. He can drive himself in. But being part of an offensive equation is where you want those guys that really know how to work an at-bat, work a situation.
Good lead for Puig. He's not running. Barnes nearly gets hit by what turns into ball 2. From Arizona State Sun Devil, Austin Barnes was an infielder and still has the ability to play the infield. Part of what made him appealing to make the roster over Bobby Wilson for the backup catcher spot. He waits on this 2-2. And hits it hard, but Myers has it. Floats it up there to second, and Ibar holds on to it. So fielder's choice and one gone for Kike Hernandez.
Hitting for the Dodgers, number 14, Kike Hernandez.
Started with a lefty on the mound the second night of the season, went 0 for 2. Kike looking for a bounce back year. Made his first opening day roster last year, but has worse numbers. Swings at a breaking ball, drives it towards the gap in left center, and it bounces to the wall. Barnes hits third and comes home. Ibar's relay to the plate, nowhere close to in time. Kike Hernandez with an RBI double.
Let's take a look at the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa slow-mo cam. A breaking ball in the middle of the play. Kike wasting no time coming off the bench, attacking the first pitch, finds the gap in the left center. And then you get to see Austin Barnes run, and I'll tell you what, he doesn't run like any catcher, and Kike appreciates that, picking up his first RBI of 2017.
And adding cushion. 5-2 now. Back to the top, Andrew Tolles. Jams it foul. Strike one. Kike talked about his experience playing in the WBC with Team Puerto Rico, who had lost here in the championship game to Team USA, but he said that it helped him restore some of his love for the game. Said the energy, the passion was contagious, started to have fun again. Ball and a strike on Tolles. Last year really weighed on Kike. It wasn't just the struggles on the field, but his father Enrique was battling through cancer. Cancer in remission now. They learned that in October. Enrique Sr., a Pirate scout, the guy that taught Kike the game. A 1-1 to Tolles. Got in on him, 1-2. Kike last year shaved his head. That was in support of his dad, who was traveling for months back and forth between Puerto Rico and Tampa to get treatment. Father's Day a year ago, with his father front and center on his mind, he had a game-tying pinch hit home run. A 1-2. A looping breaker rolled to second. Solarte will throw Tolles out for the second out. Kike said he went up to the plate on Father's Day actually thinking into himself, what am I going to do if I hit a home run? Because he knew what the emotions would be like, and said he had a hard time making it around the bases without crying. It was such a special moment for him on that day, with what his father was going through, with what the relationship meant to him. But again, Enrique Sr.'s cancer in remission. All is well right now. Hernandez stands at third with 2 gone, and it's Corey Seager with the Dodgers in front, 5-2. 1-0. He's reached twice today, a walk and a single. They want it up on 1-0. Oof. He missed, but Seager took it. 2-0. Good stop by Sanchez, and it's 3 balls and no strikes. And the reigning Rookie of the Year.
Getting pitched like an MVP, which he was 3rd in the voting in. Not really wanting to throw him a strike. I'd be very surprised if this one is close.
It's not. And a 4-pitch walk, second of the inning issued by Cozart. And the Dodgers are at the corners with 2 gone for Logan Forsythe. And a visit from pitching coach Darren Balsley.
Maybe a little review of how to get Logan Forsythe out. I don't think you'd be talking mechanics or, hey, you got to attack with Corey Seager, left-handed hitter, and the way he's swinging the bat. I think that was a total pitch around. It's giving him a breather before he goes after the right-handed hitter.
First full season for Cozart in a Padres uniform. Came over from the Marlins. Started his career in Houston. And the first time working out of the bullpen. So this is new for him. In fact, only his 2nd career relief appearance out of 68 career games. Native of League City, Texas. Home of the first one, and Forsythe takes it for a strike. Hogan 0 for 3 today. Be a good time to get in the hit column and extend this lead. That one slipped out of his hand. Counts even, 1-1. First start at 3rd for him today with Justin Turner getting the day off. And that means the first start of the season for Chase Utley at 2nd. Cozart to Forsythe with a 1-1 breaking ball that's low, and Seager gets in a rundown, giving Hernandez a chance to slide under the tag. Perfectly designed, perfectly executed to buy the Dodgers their 6th run of the afternoon.
A lot of deception going on right here. Corey Seager pulls up. That is definitely a play, and executed with 2 guys that can run. Try to lure the throw and the attention towards second base. And then Kike looks like he gets his toe there, but they're going to review it.
So the crew chief, Larry Vanover, heads over there, and we'll get on the phone with New York. Early indications this year have been that if it's really, really close, it's probably going to stand. Emphasis has been on having replays under 2 minutes. Yeah, I think it may even be confirmed.
Very hard for the runners to come in and try and touch the top of the plate with these spikes. They get all worried that they're going to catch a spike and hurt their leg. In some ways, safety of the players is at risk when they have to slide into home with the metal spikes that have a chance of catching. Sometimes that foot is over the plate but not down. Looked like Kike did a good job brushing the top.
And he's safe. So Hernandez takes home, and the Dodgers have a 6-2 lead.
So will Corey get a stolen base or a fielder's choice?
Getting that official word over the press box PA right now. The count 2-1 on Forsythe. The lead 6-2 Dodgers here in the 6th. Strike 2.
We know Kike Hernandez will get credit for a stolen base of home.
Yep. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Still waiting on the official ruling. A payoff on the way to Forsythe, and he walks. Third walk of the inning for the Dodgers against Cozart, and they have him at first and second with Adrian Gonzalez coming up.
First baseman number 23, Adrian Gonzalez.
Cozart missed out on the San Diego rotation. Chacin and Weaver and Richard and Perdomo making the rotation ahead of him. And his first outing out of the bullpen, not a good one. 2 in the bank already, 2 on against him, and he's going to get taken from the game here. It'll be up to another reliever to try and preserve the line where it is right now. Andy Green takes it from him. And back down to the Padres bullpen. That's Craig Stammen.
And Friday Night Fireworks presented by Denny's April 14th with music to Billy's greatest hits. Purchase both a concert ticket in May for May and a game ticket on April 14th against Arizona. One special price, $49.50. Visit Dodgers.com/Billy.
We may have to stick around for the fireworks to enjoy Billy's greatest hits since we're going to be out of town. Out of town for the actual concert. Cozart not happy with his debut. Stammen comes in. Gonzalez climbs in, and there's ball 1. Second appearance this year for him. Scoreless inning on opening day for the former Washington National, who hadn't pitched in the majors in 2 years before opening day. Native of North Star, Ohio, and played his college ball at Dayton. His 1-0. And Gonzalez hits it foul, 1-1. Pair of ground outs and a pop out for the Dodger first baseman today. Dodgers 2 runs in the inning, 2 men on, and they have just 1 hit. 3 walks from Kosar. That one's thrown into center by Stammen. Seager didn't realize that it got through. Part of that was Ibar did a good job of convincing him that he had the ball.
Turn, throw, deke. Hold the ball. Don't get up, Corey. I got this. I really don't.
It's well done. We've seen some nice gamesmanship down there in this series.
The most subtle ones are usually by Chase Utley.
Just up, 2-1. Yeah, Chase, the king of subtlety.
I like the ones during the College World Series where the whole bullpen is in on it. Like a pickoff to first. You fake that the ball got away. The bullpen all scatters like the ball's there. The runner is like dancing around, watching everybody get out of the way when really the first baseman still has the ball.
Hard hit off of Stammen. Slows it down for Ibar, who has no play. Gonzalez has an infield single, and the Dodgers have the bases loaded for Jock Peterson.
It's one way to beat the shift. Hit the pitcher with the ball, so the ball that was right at where you normally hit it, the shortstop can't get there in time.
A familiar situation for number 31. He stepped in there on opening day like this and cranked a grand slam inside the foul pole down the right field line. The 3rd grand slam of his career. And he'll try to bust this one open by doing the same. The grand slam still his only hit so far this year. 2 for 7, or 1 for 7. And Stammen is up with the first one, 1-0. Seager at 3rd, Forsythe at 2nd, Gonzalez at 1st. The 1-0. Strike 1. They want it up. In, 2-1.
Only the 1 hit this year, the grand slam, and Jock showing great patience here and building into a hitter's count.
Great view of a bases loaded situation and a 2-1 pitch. Ripped foul, 2-2. George Lombard got out of the way of that screamer and then applauded somebody in the first row, made a clean snag off the 1 bounce. Stammen trying to keep San Diego at least within range here in the 6th. Peterson a chance to bust it loose. In an inning where the Dodgers only have 1 hit out of the infield, they have 2 runs and they have the bases loaded. The 2-2. Do it again. Utley would bat next. And he swings and misses for strike 3 to finish the inning. But the Dodgers add 2 thanks to some control issues from Jarred Kozar, and it's 6-2 as we go to the 7th. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers or visit SoCalBMW.com. And by Carl's Jr., the breakfast burger served all day at Carl's Jr. Back at Dodger Stadium, all the history throughout the ballpark. Somewhere there is Oral Hershiser's 1993 Silver Slugger. It's on the top shelf, ladies and gentlemen. Right next to the Cy Young. Luis Avilan comes in, 6-2 Dodgers as we go to the 7th. Second appearance for him this year. Hunter Renfroe, the first man up, and he bangs one to right, a base hit. So on the first pitch against Avilan, a single for Renfroe.
Catcher number 44, Hector Sanchez.
Hector Sanchez. That's low, ball 1. Flips around and bats right-handed, facing Avilan now. He faced McCarthy his first 2 times. He was 0-2 against him. The 1-0. Swing and a miss. That's why Avilan is in there as a left-handed pitcher against back-to-back righties to begin. That changeup.
Great arm speed with it. Good late movement. Even the ball's slightly up. It's very deceptive.
On 1-1, fouled back. 1-2. Went with a fastball that time. Nice luxury for Dave Roberts. A couple of guys down there. Avilan and Grant Dayton, who can get out both side hitters. It won't necessarily be a setup with a 7th inning man and an 8th inning man and then a closer. Obviously, you have the closer in Jansen. But other than that, Dave Roberts, one of the lead thinkers when it comes to high leverage and using your next best guy outside of your closer in the highest of leverage situations. And within that, until you figure out exactly who that best guy is, that next best guy to Kenley Jansen, it's matchup based at this point of the season. Runner takes off, swing and a miss, throw to second, not in time. But Sanchez down on strikes for the first out of the inning.
Shortstop number 8, Eric Ibar.
As the lineup, the batting order is flexible with where they'll hit guys depending on the starting pitcher they're facing or the ballpark they're playing in. So is the bullpen flexible. Other than that 9th inning guy that gets the save, everybody else is a movable part.
So Renfroe steals second as Avilan strikes out Sanchez and Eric Ibar comes up. Oh for 2 today. Former Brave against another former Brave, although Ibar was for a very short period of time there. He, of course, is known as a longtime Angel, but was traded to Atlanta in the Angelton Simmons deal. Split last year between Atlanta and Detroit. It was the worst season that he had in his decade in the majors. On 1-0, swings and misses, 1-1. Came out after the season, though, that Ibar was playing through a sports hernia for much of the year. Didn't complain, stayed in the lineup. The numbers would tell you, though, that something else was at work. And had surgery to repair it this offseason. Avilan's 1-1 and Ibar takes ball 2.
Sergio Romo getting loose down there, backing up Luis Avilan. Romo with his first outing as a Dodger yesterday, very effective.
That's in there, 2-2. But Romo sure was fired up about making that Dodger debut, wasn't he? He was fired up about just literally putting the jersey on, having the jersey sitting in his locker.
And now his family comfortable enough to wear all their Dodger jerseys to the games compared to when they were Dodger fans, but he was a Giant.
A 2-2, blocked by Barnes.
But anybody that was around him yesterday, his original line was, "I'm officially a Dodger. I'm officially a Dodger. I've pitched in a Dodger game in a Dodger uniform."
I don't think Giant fans would have liked it very much over those 9 seasons had they known it was deep in his heart. In his blood, really. His grandpa was a huge Dodger fan. It's passed down to his dad, and he and his siblings growing up in Brawley, California, down around the Mexico border. Avilan walks Ibar, and San Diego hoping to cut into things here in the 7th, bringing up Christian Bethancourt.
Rick Honeycutt usually does not make the pitching changes, so this is a little strategy meeting, or maybe he's noticed something that he wants to mention to Luis. Sergio Romo is used to getting ready in a hurry, but as you get a little older and you have all that experience can be a little bit of wear and tear, so sometimes you want to give your veteran relievers a little bit more time.
Rick Honeycutt in his 12th season as the Dodger pitching coach. Amazingly spanning 4 different managers. He was here for Grady Little, then Joe Torre, and Don Mattingly, and now Dave Roberts. One of your good friends from your early Dodger days.
Still very close. He's one of the best, if not the best. And then on top of that, one of the best people you'll ever meet.
So this is the super utility man Christian Bethancourt, who we first saw as a reliever earlier in this series. And he cuts to the first Avilan pitch, strike 1. His primary role will be as a reliever, but his background is as a catcher. Came in to pitch in a blowout game last year and hit 96, and they thought, maybe we have something here. Maybe you should think about pitching in a more full-time role. And they like Austin Hedges, their young catcher. Bethancourt wasn't the starting catcher, so it's not like they were losing anything by playing him there less. So his role this year mostly as a reliever and a pinch hitter against left-handed relievers. Bethancourt hits a high fly ball to deep right. Puig goes back on it at the wall with room for the second out. He'll turn and gun it back into the infield with the runner advancing to third. And they're at the corners with 2 out.
That ball had Dodger fans holding their breath here at Dodger Stadium. It was hit real well, but Puig found a track on it, and it found only the warning track, not the seats. Powerful swing, great extension. Just got it off the end of the bat a little bit.
So the 5th batter of the inning is the first left-handed batter that the lefty Avilan faces. Renfroe's at third and Ibar's at first. With 2 gone in the 7th. Starts him with a breaking ball, strike 1.
It's a big pitch for Luis Avilan, that 0-0 breaking ball to get people off the changeup and the fastball, something he's worked very hard at.
Jankowski bunts it. Gonzalez comes home with it. What a heady play by Adrian Gonzalez to get Renfroe and finish the inning. Jankowski too fast. That ball bunted too perfectly for him to get him on a tag. So he goes home, and Barnes applies the tag on Renfroe.
Top-tier play of the game brought to you by Arco. Check out Adrian Gonzalez's head. He's gathering all the information right here. Where's Avilan? Where's the Jankowski? Where's the runner on third? And now he's made his decision what he's going to do with the ball. No hesitation once he gets there, directly home, runs off the field and said, I had that all the way. He even waved his hand at him a little bit like that was easy.
Defense has been sharp across the board for the Dodgers today. So Christian Bethancourt stayed in the game after pinch hitting and now will pitch. And the obvious issues with this are, how do you get ready? How do you get warm if you're going to be a pinch hitter and then come into the game to pitch, especially in a place like this where on the road you don't have a tunnel to throw in underneath?
So many things that he has to work through. We heard Ross Stripling in the pregame show talk about the experience he had as a reliever last year is really helping him in the pen now, and how to warm up and how to weight train and all the different things he has to do. And now you got a guy that's pinch hitter, fourth catcher, and reliever, and could end up doing multiple things in one day. Not surprising the first pitch is high and away, like you're not loose yet.
Utley, Puig, and Barnes in this inning. Bethancourt's 1-0 is a strike. Struggled in his debut Monday. Got spiked on one of the first pitches that he threw. It got by. He went home to cover home. And spike came in on him, cut his pants open. You could see he was bleeding through his pants around his knee. The Dodgers got to him. 2 balls and a strike on Utley. No player in Major League history has ever caught 5 games and pitched in 5 games in the same season. Pretty good chance Bethancourt will be the first. He deals 2-1, and Utley takes ball 3.
Especially if there's an injury to one of the San Diego Padres catchers, because you think for sure he's going to get 5 outings on the mound.
Yeah, I mean, he's already almost halfway
there.
But
as the 3rd or 4th catcher on the roster, he might not get 5 if there's not a problem with the depth chart with some injuries.
Utley over the mound, Schimpf across his body with a nice play. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. It has been Puig's day. 2 two-run homers and a walk. Bethancourt misses up and in, ball 1. The 1-0. Low and in, 2 balls and no strikes. Thought it was really interesting reading a quote from Andrew Friedman about Yasiel Puig. Came this offseason about Puig's dancing ability. Takes this one inside and it's 3-0. He said you see the natural rhythm that he has when he dances. That's something that you're born with. I certainly was not. I don't have that rhythm. But Andrew said he hasn't consistently had that same rhythm. It's that same device in your mind in the batter's box. He walks on 4 pitches. But, you know, making change after change through the season, especially like he did last year. Andrew said that's why going to AAA was so important, because in Andrew's words, it can be hard to untangle mid-season when you've made as many changes as he had and had gotten so far out of rhythm. Two homers, 2 walks today, and a man at first with 1 gone for Austin Barnes.
He should get a good playlist going and hit with headphones on in the batting cage. Take some of that rhythm and that song in his head and pipe in the music right into the batting cage under the stadium here when he's working out. Put some big speakers in there and let him dance in the box.
Dancing off of first right now, drawing the attention of Hector Sanchez. 1-1. Saw him dancing around the cage yesterday before the game. Had his bat in his hand. And between rounds inside the cage, he was standing outside of it, just grooving to the beat of whatever was on in the stadium. One and two. 98 from Bethancourt.
I mean, so many people exercise on the stationary bikes, the treadmills. I used to use the Versa Climber. They get lost in the music.
Yep.
Allows them to stay away from the pain or that they're out of breath and push through the different levels because they can get the rhythm of the music going in their exercise and get lost in it. And maybe SEL's using that trick.
What's your workout playlist sound like?
That would be about 12 years ago. I don't have a playlist right now. I'll work on that. I'll get back to you on that one.
All right. Bethancourt's 1-2 is low, and the count evens on Barnes.
That reminds me a little bit of spring training when every time you pass somebody, you'd ask them, how's your bracket?
Yeah. Checking
in on the NCAA tournament. And your bracket turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
What, out of how many zillion people you came in third?
10 billion.
10 billion.
There goes Puig, and Barnes fouls it hard off of Hector Sanchez.
Arizona got me in my bracket.
Did they?
I had a chance to win, and Arizona lost.
Chris Hatcher has joined Sergio Romo. Sanchez given a moment by a guy that can relate, and a career catcher in Christian Bethancourt.
You might ask, why are two right-handers up in the Dodger bullpen? I would think that is scoreboard related. 6-2, I think it'll be Romo. Maybe something that gets extended, it'll be Chris Hatcher. Romo ready and Hatcher just kind of tossing in case this inning gets away from the Padres.
Attempting to be one of a kind, Christian Bethancourt. Puig dancing around again and drawing a throw. This time Bethancourt wants Sanchez to come out. Closest thing to what Christian Bethancourt is trying to become, if he does indeed catch some. There was a guy in the Negro Leagues in the 1930s and 40s named Ted Radcliffe, who became known as Double Duty Radcliffe. And the way that Double Duty got his nickname came in the Negro League World Series. It was a double header. In game one, he caught a Satchel Paige complete game shutout, and then turned around in game two and threw a complete game shutout of his own. So they named him Double Duty Ratcliffe, but nobody like that or like Christian Bethancourt in the majors before. Training staff out to take a longer look at Sanchez, who again few minutes ago took that foul tip off the mask.
He seemed to be looking at his hand also. The one off his mask here. Wow.
Well, the one thing Andy Green has going for him here is he has 4 catchers on the roster, and so he can afford to be conservative here. And if Sanchez is dealing with anything, there are other options, and I think they are going to make a change.
Could bring a pitcher in and put Bethancourt back there behind the plate.
Could do that too. Instead, though, they go with Luis Torrens. Torrens, one of the 3 Rule 5 selections on this roster. 3 Rule 5 selections, 4 catchers, 3 outfielders on the roster. It is a really interesting blend of players on this San Diego season opening roster.
And we've seen organizations try to piggyback their starters. Think about maybe having a 6-man rotation. Every organization has pretty much extended the personnel in the bullpen now, feeling that the extra reliever or relievers is more valuable than the utility player on the bench or the right-handed bat you might want. And now the Padres go what would seem to be short in the outfield and long at catching, and having one of their catchers become a pitcher. When you're rebuilding, you have a chance to kind of look at the back of the envelope a little bit and see where you want to stretch things.
So Austin Barnes resumes his 2-2 count, and Bethancourt fires, and he just barely got the bat on it. Sounded almost like he got part of his hand. 2-2.
It was an interesting swing on an interesting pitch. Almost flinched up here, like he was going to hit it with his hands, but he got through on it a little bit. Not a lot of wood where that ball hit.
There goes Puig. It's in the dirt, throw down, ricochets into short left, and Puig with a steal of second.
Game still in the balance. This is not rubbing it in at all. Yasiel Puig just trying to get into scoring position. Does a good job at that.
Oh, right in the head.
Right in the noggin, yeah. Got enough guys getting hit in the face, and now the head.
So an RBI chance here for Barnes. Fastball pulled foul.
I don't know about you, but this time of day and right now, it's hard to see the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit hazy. A lot of it hazy.
The lights are not on, but I don't think they would help. Just kind of an odd glare right now.
Another payoff from Bethancourt to Barnes, and this one is up high, walked him. And the Dodgers have men at first and second with 1 out in the 7th. Scott Van Slyke to bat.
It's hitter number 33, Scott Van Slyke.
Dodgers have gotten good production out of the 9 spot today. McCarthy had a single. Kike Hernandez had a pinch hit RBI double, and now it's Scott Van Slyke. Looking for his first hit of the season. Taking ball one. Can't be a comfortable at bat against Christian Bethancourt right now.
Throws it firm and he's not sure where it's going.
The 1-0. It's in there.
I'm sure it was really uncomfortable when he was the emergency pitcher coming from behind the plate as a catcher and all of a sudden throwing 96. Guys like, okay, 96, but he's not a pitcher and we're up 15-1.
Yeah, what are we doing?
I'm sure they were trying to just make sure they got out of the at-bat healthy.
2-1. Feels like Puig has been out there forever. And now it's 3-1 on Van Slyke after back-to-back walks. To Puig and Barnes. Top of the order, Andrew Toles coming up. A 3-1. Inside, and it's 3 consecutive walks to load him up.
I would think Bethancourt needs to have the same attitude as he had when he was the emergency pitcher, which is, I've got a great arm, this is going to be fun. Let's go out there and throw strikes. But right now he's trying to be a pitcher, which he's completely avoiding the strike zone. Trust his arm.
Yeah, nobody warming just yet.
It's going to be a tough part of the San Diego Padre year. There's this middle relief for some of these games that get out of hand. This one's not out of hand yet. They're trying to keep it in the balance, but the depth of their roster will be exposed when fatigue sets in. If the starters don't go very far, the bullpen gets overused, and then you got to maybe go to AAA or AA to find another arm to replace some guys, and you will just totally be exposed to the organization's rebuilding.
6 consecutive losing seasons for the Padres. Red Hand finally coming to the rescue, but it may be too late. Andrew Toles. Strike one. Padres last year 68-94. It was their worst season since 2008. Tied them with the Braves and with the Brewers for the worst record in the National League. Infield comes in. And Toles waits on an 0-1. Ball one. Fifth at bat for Toles, looking for his first hit of the day. Be a good time for it. 1-1, 2-1.
Well, the Dodger hitters, and especially Andrew Toles right now, put the information to work. Bethancourt struggling with any off-speed pitch to throw a strike with it. And his fastball is mostly a two-seamer when he gets a strike. So the ball should run away from Andrew, and he should be able to hit it hard to left field.
And a nice take. 3 balls and a strike.
Good discipline right there. Anticipating the ball away, anticipating a strike that he could drive, but taking when he read ball.
Toles ultra aggressive, but showing good patience when it calls for it here. Bases are loaded. Toles with a chance to break it open in the 7th. A 3-1. 4th consecutive walk brings home a run. 7-2 Dodgers.
Andrew Toles walks to the Ribeye Steakhouse, gets himself an RBI. Plates a run with Yasiel Puig.
And right now, Bethancourt having to wear it. going to do it for him. Andy Green will call down to get Brad Hand, try to stop the bleeding. But the bases are loaded. There's just one out, and Corey Seager due up next for the Dodgers.
For the boys in blue today. Starting today, 3 of the Dodgers' 4 games this weekend will be day games. The 12-10 games start today, 1:10 in Colorado on Friday and Sunday. And when I talked to Dave Roberts about that, he said, you know, it's not really tough managing the guys during that time period. He said, it's actually working out for me because this first week of the season, I want to get everyone an opportunity. So I'm getting guys rest, and I'm getting people like Chase Utley in there to make sure they get the starts that I want.
All right, Kelly. Yeah, that noon game on Friday has to do with the fact that it's the opener for the Rockies. So the day game for opening day. And a couple more throughout the weekend. Brad Hand inherits a bases loaded jam with the Dodgers already up 7-2. And Corey Seager takes ball 1. Opening day is always fun, no matter where they're at. A good time in Denver tomorrow. They're excited about that Rockies team around there. Hands 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Rockies took 3 of 4 from the Brewers, by the way, getting a run in the 9th inning today to finish off Milwaukee. A run in the bank, bases loaded on 4 walks from Christian Bethancourt. And now Seager hits a high fly ball to left. A long run for Jankowski, who won't get there, and it skips into the crowd for a 2-run double. It's officially busted open. 9-2 in the 7th.
Not sure Corey even knew where this ball went as it left his bat. He looks up, sees it's kind of hooking down there, leaves the box, and when it lands fair, easily gets into second because that's what you're awarded.
4th time Corey's been on today. 2 walks and now 2 hits, and Logan Forsythe. Opportunity to add on. Hands first one. Started him with a curve. It's in. Strike.
As we predicted, Sergio Romo is now down, and Chris Hatcher will be the pitcher coming in for the Dodgers. The top of the 8th.
Hand to the 30-year-old Forsythe. It's low, 1-1. Connections throughout Forsythe's career that helped him land here with the Dodgers. Dave Roberts was his first base coach in his time in San Diego, and the GM there was Josh Burns, now one of the Dodgers GMs. There's more though. Andrew Friedman connected to him. Here's a 1-1. Swings through it, 1-2. Friedman's traded for him twice. Andrew was in charge in Tampa Bay. He acquired Logan from San Diego, and then did the same this offseason from Tampa Bay. January 22nd in 14, January 23rd in 17. A 1-2. He lays off, blocked down by Torrens. Toles hangs on at third, the count 2-2. Love the attitude this guy brings. Professional approach. He's always played with a chip on his shoulder. Says that it came from growing up in a blue-collar family. Memphis, Tennessee, before went on to play at Arkansas. Here's a 2-2, and Forsythe looks at strike three through the back door.
Logan's probably thinking that was a 9-2 strike call. Ball looked like it did not make it back to the plate. A lot of times at the big league level, when a catcher has to move his glove across the plate, the pitcher misses the target by that much, you do not get the call.
So Gonzalez. Always a lot of Adrian fans here, and still gets some of the loudest cheers during pregame lineup introductions. Takes one low, 1-0. Acquired from Boston in 2012, and in his very first at-bat as a Dodger, broke a tie with a 3-run homer. Toles at third, Seager at second. And Hand lets a 1-0 go. 1-1. Adrian, born in San Diego. His family moved to Tijuana shortly after that, and then back to San Diego when he was in grade school. Two on, two out in the seventh, and a 1-1 from Brad Hand. Off of the glove of Torrens. Here comes Toles. He'll store standing. And the Dodgers, for the second time in this season opening series, have double digits on the scoreboard.
That might be a pass ball right there. They've got a lot of glove on this. Wanting a low fastball, getting it up and in, but that ball's got to be caught. Rule 5 draft behind the plate, struggling a little bit, giving up stolen bases and pass balls. You mentioned Adrian's popularity.
Yeah.
On Twitter, he's following 167 people, but he's followed by 1,000,001.
2-1. It's inside. 3 balls, 1 strike. Yeah, that is it's a combination of likability and a good social media team. And performance. It doesn't hurt.
Got the whole package. Beautiful wife, beautiful family, great job, a very deep faith. And a very pretty baseball swing.
That's for sure. Always a little prettier from the left side. 4 straight walks and then a Seager double, accounting for the scoring in this inning. And a hand to Gonzalez with a 3-2. That's low, and the 5th walk of the frame. Dodgers have batted around as Jock Peterson comes up. Or have they? Get into that discussion that was popular on the internet last year. Is batting around when 9 guys come to the plate, or do you have to get to the 10th man of the inning?
If Jock makes it out here, we've only had 9 guys come to the plate this inning.
Yep.
I think we've batted around.
I'm on your team.
We have completed the circle.
And we have played a half hour in this half inning.
Would the mathematicians say that the circle is complete? I think when he comes to the plate, we haven't batted around.
But when his at-bat is finished.
When his at-bat is finished, we have. And is the next hitter really in the batter's box and at the plate when you finish the circle? He's walking from the on-deck circle up to the batter's box.
Yeah, you're taking it a notch above philosophically here.
Because I think I got argued with by some guys that were really deep into math.
A 1-0. And that's in there. This is the 4th consecutive inning that Jock has been at the plate.
If we could start a deep discussion like this, we would have a lot of tweets to read when we were getting ready to get on the plane tonight.
We got a long trip through rush hour traffic. Hit us up.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be about the batting around thing. We love hearing from you guys.
We could answer. We're going to have a good hour and a half, 2 hours.
Just getting to the airport. 1-2. That's to and from, because in Denver, it's about the longest trip in baseball.
Oh
from
my
the airport
gosh,
to the
that's
hotel.
right.
It's like we're there.
And they didn't plant many trees between the airport and the hotel.
Not a lot of scenery, no. There are, you know what there is a lot of, though? Conspiracy theories about that airport.
Oh, I might buy in on a few of those.
Hands 1-2. Peterson strikes out and spikes the bat down in frustration as the 7th inning comes to an end, and he just got thrown out. Thrown out by home plate umpire David Rackley, but the Dodgers add 4 here in the 7th and lead 10-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, affordable automations and roster elevations, the winner of today's 50-50 raffle. Take
In the shuffle is the outstanding defense by the cornermen of the Dodgers. Adrian Gonzalez right here on this ground ball feeding Brandon McCarthy. Then right the very next play, Forsythe ranging to his left guns it out, and then on this Jankowski bunt, trying to sneak a runner home with 2 outs. Adrian Gonzalez charges. Austin Barnes hangs in there for the tag, and the Dodger defense has cut down the Padres all day.
A couple of changes in that defense with Jock Peterson getting thrown out. Scott Van Slyke is in left. Andrew Tolles moves over to center, and Chris Hatcher enters the game on the mound. Second appearance of the year for him begins with ball 1 to Manny Margot. He allowed a run on 3 hits over 2 innings on opening day. And it seemed like 2 hours ago that Luis Avilan pitched the top of the 6th or top of the 7th.
It does.
Yeah. I think the official time of that last half inning was somewhere between 35 and 40 minutes. A couple pitching changes, a lot of walks.
If you want to go next level on that, Brandon McCarthy in 6 innings threw 26 balls. The Padres in the 7th inning threw 28 balls.
Wow. 2, 3, and 4 for San Diego in this inning against Hatcher. A 2-1 to Margot. He gets his bat on it. On it a short hop, Seager. That is a tough play.
Well, enough of just the corner guys flashing the leather. Corey Seager says, give me a chance. Right here, this one off the end of the bat then is tough to read the speed, but he charges it and does a nice job continuing to flex the glove on the backhand, having soft hands. After that was done, the easy part was the throw.
Will Myers hit his first home run of the season his last time up. That made it a 4-2 game in the 6th. The Dodgers have responded with 6 runs of insurance. Hatcher starts him with a slider, strike 1. Chris Hatcher from a small town in North Carolina. His first son, Jensen Thomas, celebrated a birthday coming up pretty soon. On April 14th last year.
Chris Hatcher in some ways is the Yasiel Puig of the bullpen. He's a guy that they're going to get in there. They want in there. Tremendous potential. Has had some really hot runs. But they're just waiting for him to really gain that consistency. And he has the ability to really go up the ladder in that bullpen. And set up for somebody. Punch a lot of guys out in key situation jams. And he has proven he can do it. But it's the consistency that's going to move him up, and as far as his role is concerned.
Began last year as a setup man. For the 2nd year in a row, dealt with oblique issues. Trying to finish off Myers by going upstairs, and Myers went after it and fouled it back. And judging by the reaction, I think somebody made a nice catch. Another 1-2. 2-2. Hatcher came over in the D. Gordon deal. Former Marlin, former catcher. Actually made his major league debut while he was still a catcher. And he finishes, Myers even thought so, but apparently outside. So the count's full. Even Myers is headed to the dugout. Pop up, foul ground. Barnes over to give it a look. Runs out of room.
David Rackley's made a couple interesting calls in the last few minutes with tossing Jock Peterson. Jock swung and missed through his bat. And my thought is that's a fine, not an ejection. Throwing equipment is a fine. there was an expletive that was uttered, I would think Jock was saying it to himself.
And a breaking ball does finally get him. So Hatcher gets what he deserved in that at-bat. Strikes out Myers, 2 away.
Breaking ball, a little slider that backs up a little bit, but still change of speeds and a little bit of break fools him.
Do you remember the 17-inning game last year in San Diego?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, in May.
Mm-hmm.
The home plate umpire got knocked out when he took a foul tip.
Oh, that's
early
right.
in the game. That was David Rackley, guy who's behind the plate right now. Got knocked out in the 5th inning, so they had to umpire shorthanded for 12 innings.
And the very next night, we had another one, but he was able to stay in there.
Solarte to second. Utley gets in front of it. Chris Hatcher with a 1-2-3 inning. We march to the bottom of the 8th. All Dodgers in this one. In San Diego with a 3-game sweep, outscoring the Padres 25-0. And when you factor in the few games this week, the last 2 season opening series, 52-10, they're outscoring their opponents from down south.
Dodgers would like to continue that dominance. Last year they were 11-8 against the Padres, so the Padres started to punch back last year, but they would like to keep that dominance this year. Finish this game off, win 3 out of 4.
Brandon Maurer, who will be the closer until Carter Capps comes back, pours in a strike to Chase Utley. And you get the feeling that it's maybe one of those years where the West is decided on who's able to take care of business against San Diego. I know San Diego doesn't want to hear that, but you know, the Dodgers and Giants are going to be there. A lot of people think the Rockies could push. There are some that think Arizona could bounce back. 1-2 on Utley.
Arizona's got a lot of holes. I'm not sure they're going to have enough starting pitching. And I think right now my prediction would be that beat up on the Padres and also think about beating up on Arizona. And if you play the other guys even or slightly above 500, you should win the division.
A 2-2, ball 3. Last year, San Francisco owned San Diego in the first half, but then San Diego became a nemesis in the second half, and it kind of mirrored what happened in San Francisco's season.
And the funny thing is when they really started to fall apart is when their regulars got healthy. It was the guys that filled in for all the injured players that kind of kept them afloat, and they were cruising. And then Clayton Kershaw got hurt, and the Dodgers were 8.5 back, I'm thinking. And then while Clayton was on the DL, the Dodgers caught the Giants.
Mauer stabs that one and gets Utley. Yeah, the Dodgers said 8.5. It was 8, so right around that. June 26th, when Kershaw made his last start before the injury. They had gained back all those 8 games by August 9th and moved into first place. Took over first place for good August 21st. And wound up winning the division by 4 games, even after getting swept by the Giants to finish the regular season. So they went into that series with a 7-game lead as Puig looks at a strike. It's after trailing by as many as 8. Giants had the best record in baseball in the first half, 57-33. Puig with a big bounce at a third. Schimpf, 2 gone. In the second half, the Giants were 30-42. 4th worst in the majors, and a lot of that had to do with the bullpen. They're hoping that they've addressed that with the Mark Melancon signing. #1 in the majors in saves the last 3 years.
Catcher number 15, Austin Barnes.
Ironically, though, his first save opportunity with the Giants on opening day for them, he blew the save.
And Arizona's taken 2 of the first 3 in that series down at Chase Field. Austin Barnes drives one to center. Margot coasts onto the track to pull it in. On to the 9th inning. Dodgers with a comfortable lead, 3 outs away from taking 3 of 4.
In check, Jerry Harrison will not stop talking. What's new? It's Access Sportsnet, presented by your Southern California Nissan dealers. Coming up after the game, poor Ned Coletti. I don't know how he deals with these guys.
Throwing shade at Jerry. Chris Hatcher on for the 9th, trying to finish things off. Dodgers today got 2 in the 2nd and 2 in the 4th, all on Puig homers, a pair of 2-run shots. Will Myers cut into it, made it interesting for a moment with a 2-run homer in the 6th, but the Dodgers with 2 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th, and comfy entering the 9th as Ryan Schimpf takes a strike. Pitching probables as we look ahead to the series this weekend. I'm looking forward to watching Hyun-Jin Ryu tomorrow face off with Kyle Freeland of the Rockies. And then Clayton Kershaw, John Gray on Saturday. Kenta Maeda, Tyler Anderson in the finale Sunday. 1-1 to Schimpf. 1-2. John Lester, by the way, was moved in the Cubs rotation to line up to face the Dodgers. So Lester will pitch Monday against Brandon McCarthy. And that means when the Dodgers see Brett Anderson, the former Dodger, to finish the series for the Cubs, it'll be 4 left-handed starters in 6 games on the trip.
Dave Roberts addressing the fact that the Dodgers have struggled against lefties here this year again, and he said, you know what, it's going to be up to us to change the narrative. Very small sample size so far, but that story will linger as long as they struggle.
Nice pitch from Hatcher. 1 out. Our Lexus player of the game, that man right there. 2 more home runs after he hit his first of the season last night. Couple of 2-run shots today.
Well, he's the leader in the clubhouse as far as player of the game. Got co-player of the game yesterday with Rich Hill, and now all by himself. Are we giving away a Lexus at the end? The total? Or? I don't think so.
If we are, let me know, and I'll nominate myself next time.
No.
Hunter Renfroe taking a strike.
Your uniform is a coat and tie.
Uh-huh.
Theirs is much different.
Yep. One ball and 1 strike. Padres go home and have their opener against the Giants. Will be one of the last teams to celebrate opening day. They have the current 4-game series in Arizona that they're wrapping up, and then to San Diego before they go home Monday. One and two.
You know, with this stretch of day games sprinkled into the Dodgers schedule here, Colorado and Chicago, and this one here at home to end this series, really important for each bullpen piece to do their job. You think, oh, these are just mop-up innings for Chris Hatcher, but it's not good for a bullpen when you have day game after night game, then another day game after night game. All of a sudden, guys don't do their job. Just getting up to protect somebody or having to come in to bail somebody out because they couldn't get through their assigned inning, that's huge wear and tear on a bullpen. And it's especially important with the day games after night games. The Dodgers would have avoided Kenley Jansen last night, not just found him an inning work if it wasn't a save situation, because this was a day game today. And that's one of the more taxing things on a bullpen, is just the ups, not necessarily coming in the game, but having to get up because an inning looks like it's getting away from somebody. And with the plans of pitching and playing in October, you want to stay away from that wear and tear, because it will show up in the second half of the season.
.110 start time tomorrow in the opener in Denver. Renfroe digs it out towards the left field corner. Van Slyke won't get there. On his way to second with the double. So 110 on Friday, 5:10 Saturday, and then 12:10 on Sunday. All night games in Chicago until getaway day, when the Dodgers will play in the afternoon and then come home to welcome in Arizona for the second homestand of the season next Friday. Here's Torrens. Came into the game when Hector Sanchez left with dizziness after taking the foul tip off of the mask. Strike one.
I know you have this number by heart. Number of guys on the playoff roster that are now on the roster.
That are still in the organization, at least 21 of the 25.
Those games in Chicago will have a lot of passion to them,
sure,
because of the Cubs knocking out the Dodgers.
Banner raising ceremony Monday. Ring ceremony Wednesday. They're gonna slow the whole thing and draw it all out.
Pouring salt in the wound twice.
Yep, and I'm sure they'll have something planned for Thursday too, just for good measure. Oh, and 2 on Torrens.
Interesting thinking about that, how Dave Roberts decided not to give a motivational talk before opening day. He said the pain in the Chicago locker room after we lost is enough. These guys will remember, and there's enough of them still here that there's nothing needs to be said.
Is it pretty standard to have an opening day address, this little pep talk?
Sometimes it happens right on opening day. Most days, Tommy Lasorda would have it the day before, the workout the day before. A lot of the hitters meetings and pitchers meetings would be the day before. The motivational talk about the schedule of opening day, and Tommy didn't miss many days where he could have given a motivational talk. You know?
Yeah.
And it was always interesting, his regular season motivational talks, or when he would close the doors and the media would know it was a team meeting, it was always on a day that the ace was pitching. So when Fernando was starting, or when Jerry Royce was the ace and he was starting, you always have a little better chance as a manager of winning because of your motivational talk.
Right.
When your ace is going.
Yeah, I get it.
Strategy.
Savvy.
A lot of the motivational stuff in the hitters meetings and the pitchers meetings, and hey, let's go over the new signs we're going to use going into this season. That's the day before, because there's so much pomp and circumstance on opening day and the schedule's kind of out of whack that you don't want to throw in a whole bunch of meetings also.
Two and two.
Another thing, you know, we're looking at the scoreboard there, 10-2, ninth inning, 32 pitches for Chris Hatcher. The other thing about these bullpen pieces is keeping that pitch count under control when you've got these day games after night games. Because there is kind of there's a mark there that Rick Honeycutt and Dave Roberts don't like to bring a guy back the next day, or even maybe require 2 days rest if you keep crossing over different thresholds. 17 to 22 pitches in an inning, all of a sudden you start to worry about the next day. You get past 25, you're probably down the next day unless there's an emergency.
He finally gets Torrens, and the Dodgers are out away.
Shortstop number 8, Eric Heimel.
Puig feeling good going into the first road trip. Time to get weird in Denver. Usually does at Coors Field. Eric Ibar looking at strike one. Two in the second, two in the fourth, two in the sixth, and four in the seventh for the Dodgers today, reaching double digits for the second time in 4 games. Quickly 0-2 on Ibar.
You're excited about the offensive production on the given days, but as a championship team, the focus throughout the year is going to be to beat the good pitchers, to beat the guys that are hot that day, to find ways to produce runs. These offensive explosions are going to happen with great offenses, but the championship teams are going to have to find the way to produce the runs.
Ibar with a fly ball to right center. Puig is under it, He's got it, and the Dodgers take care of business to open 2017. Winning 3 of 4 against San Diego. A 14-run explosion in the opener, and they bookend it with a 10-run performance today.
Great start to the 2017 season. 3 out of 4. Head on the road to an improved Colorado team, and then to try and take down the World Championship Cubs. On a roll right now. Try and keep it going.
So Brandon McCarthy gets the win in his season debut. Yasiel Puig goes deep twice. 3 home runs in the opening series, and it's on to Colorado. Dodgers and Rockies. First pitch at 1:10 tomorrow. Hyun-Jin Ryu against Kyle Freeland. For Oral and Kelly and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from LA and talk to you from Denver.